Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I want to talk about getting ready to quilt your quilt. When you are ready to quilt your quilt, it's really important to test some scrap fabric first before you actually get to your quilt. You should actually try to get fabric from the quilt project, the backing you're going to use, and the batting. That is the ideal situation where you could actually sandwich something together and actually test your machine and your quilting on that. What that does is it gives you an opportunity to make sure that your machine is running smoothly, you like the thread that you've chosen, and it gives you a chance to actually get in the momentum of that pattern you're going to use. However, a lot of times you will not have the fabric left over, or you won't have batting left over. A lot of times I will make my quilt to actually fit the batting pretty close that I don't have any left over. Now I usually use the same batting and I use the same type of fabric on the top and the bottom. So what I did is I pre-made a pile of test squares. So I have a pile of these little sandwiches already made. I take the batting I normally use. I use Hobbs, and it's a fusible one, and I like it because I'm able to fuse the 3 layers together and I don't have to baste and I don't have to pin, so it's really easy. So this is a very common one for me to use. So I bought an extra one, and what I did is I cut the batting up into 9.5-inch squares. Then I took fabric for the backing, cut it the same, 9.5-inch. Then I took that fabric that I bought and I looked at it and I thought, what was I thinking when I bought this fabric? That's the fabric I use, because obviously I liked it at some point, and it gives me a chance to use up that fabric. And then I will make a pile of these little 9.5-inch squares, and I keep them handy so that I'm able to use them whenever I need them. This quilt was actually made and I had no leftover fabric at all left from it. So I was able to use these squares. Now when I do use these squares, I do make sure that I use the same color thread that I'm actually going to use in the quilt. And I make sure the machine set that I'm going to use for the quilt, not for the test square. I'm not so concerned on how this is going to look. I'm more concerned of getting everything right before I start the quilt. So I'm able to take this and I'm able to give a test on it. So if I'm going to actually stipple on the quilt, I'll actually stipple here. If I'm going to do a little curly Q, then I'll do curly Qs. If I'm doing leaves, I'll do leaves. Whatever pattern I'm doing here, I do here. And I do it until I have the confidence that I'm able to do it on the quilt. If I don't have the confidence, I go to a second square. And that way, I know that I'm set to go and everything's going to be fine. Now afterwards I'll take these squares and I'll make them into many little different projects, and sometimes I'll just sew them together and make a quilt. Now what I also do is I will take a pile of these quilt squares that I've already done, these little sandwiches, and I'll mark them with a stencil. I bought this stencil and I think it's really cute, and it's continuous. I'll put a link in the description for you. And so what I did is I did a pile of these. So when I've got my confidence and my motion going and I'm all set and I'm ready to go on my quilt, I take 1 more minute and I do 1 square. That's it. 1 square, and I put it to side. So after a while, I'm going to have a nice little stack of these, and I'm going to actually sew it into a quilt. So I'm going to be making a quilt with very little time, basically a minute here and there. I think it's going to be a quick way to get a quilt done. Will it turn out? Will it look amazing? I don't know, but I'm willing to give it a try and see what it looks like. This seems to help me and give me confidence to use whatever design that I'm going. Also gives me an opportunity to, any given time, sit down at my machine and practice my stitching. Try a new pattern, or just do some thread play. It can be rather addicting. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Maybe it'll work out for you too. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, thanks for joining me, and come back and let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.